So body language of the Neanderthals. The Neanderthals lived in arguably the harshest periods of Earth's history. Only the toughest survived. Less advanced than modern humans, whose arrival overlapped the apparent demise of the Neanderthals, they were thought unable to compete effectively for scarce resources to survive. However, some of their tool-making techniques were found to be more complex than initially thought, which required much practice and learning. The fact that they were incredibly strong and tough was not sufficient to support the advances they needed to survive as a species. Although they are thought to have possessed some capability of speech, they had a much shorter lifespan than modern humans, associated with a limitation to pass knowledge on from generation to generation. This is closely linked to their behavior. They were able to reproduce much earlier, and the shorter childhood prevented the development of more complex cognitive abilities compared with modern Homo sapiens. Therefore, the Neanderthal lifestyle had to facilitate early learning, extensive social cooperation, and quick decision-making in day-to-day situations. They had strong kinships and emotional connections within their small groups. Although growing up fast and surviving was their main objectives, it had to be supported by body language in the absence of other ways of communication such as speech, writing, and art. It is thought the Neanderthals communicated with a system that was mimetic in character, which is the ability to produce conscious, self-initiated representational acts that are intentional but not linguistic. This could have been gestures or body language and so on. Similar to modern humans in that we use these also, but unlike us in that it does not include verbal language and speech. Although Neanderthals lacked cognitive fluidity, which may eventually have contributed to their extinction, the ability to communicate and transfer knowledge with the use of body language became an important foundation for modern humans. Noticing, understanding, and manipulating signals that people emit with their bodies are important social skills to reveal unspoken intentions or feelings, which continue until today to account for the majority of information transmitted during interpersonal interaction. Body language is thought today to account for 55% of total message, with 38% the tone of voice and only 7% the actual context of the message, according to MBPsS 2004. Therefore, body language is part of human evolution and consists of a genetic, inherited, and environmental, learned or conditioned influences that are designed to benefit the individual and his or her group. Some forms and examples of body language are considered generic and consistent among all humans, while others are specific to certain cultures and societies. As such, the use and recognition of certain fundamental facial expressions are now generally accepted to be consistent and genetically determined among all humans, regardless of culture. However, the use of recognition of less fundamental physical gestures, hand movements, for example, or the winking of an eye, and aspects of personal space, distances are now generally accepted to be environmentally determined, learned rather than inherited, which is significantly dependent on local society groups and cultures. Still, largely, it all appeared to have originated tens of thousands of years ago, when language and speech have not yet developed to the extent where verbal communication was optimal. But body language still remains the most important part of interpersonal communication, whether instinctive or intentional. Appreciating its message in conjunction with the spoken word is a significant advantage in detecting meaning and purpose of the agents. Any questions, guys, on the lecture? Any questions, comments, or otherwise?